Hello and welcome to City Beat. I'm your host Greg from the Lewiston City Library. Joining me today are John Mock, Bill Miller, and Alan Baker from the First Territorial Capital of Idaho Revitalization Project here in the Valley. Welcome, gentlemen. Thank you for coming on the show.
Sure, thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
So what would we like to talk about today? What's the hot topic on your minds that really we want to get out to the people right now?
Well, I think our capital project, our building, and the future plans of it.
Great. And so what exactly is the First Territorial Capital Interpretive Center?
John, you're probably the best at that, so.
Well, thank you. A group of us in 2007 sat down and developed plans to rebuild the First Territorial Capital building of Idaho. We were the first territorial capital city from 1863 through 1865. And that being the case, the Capitol building is one of the most important landmarks we have in Idaho. With all the beginning of territorial history and then eventually being state history came to being here in Lewiston. So we hold that distinguished reputation of all the adventurous ways of our forefather pioneers and mothers who led the way to everything we have around us that we enjoy today. So that being the case, we rebuilt the Territorial Capitol building board by board, stick by stick, square nails and period 150-year-old wood, everything that we could do to make it an exact historical aesthetic replica of that time, that period of time. So we now have it as a walk-through commemorative monument to Idaho history. And that being the case, it was built with volunteers and donors, many people of all ages and abilities. We had high school classes, we've had firemen, citizens, all of us work together to put that building up. And it's just a gift to all the people of Idaho from all of us that has worked on this over these last going on 8 years now. So it's just when you walk into this building, you're walking into a time machine of history. There's nothing like it in the state of Idaho anywhere. So then after you experience this feeling of history, then you can go and you visit the Capitol in Boise, the now existing Capitol in Boise, Idaho, a little town to our south. And you can see the difference of the way those people lived back 150 years ago, now 151 years ago, July 10th, as they did now. So it's just an amazing building and a lot of adventurous history with this. And Alan will go a little bit about our history. He's an historian in his own right and an attorney here, and he's really into the legislative history.
Yeah,
Alan Baker.
and there surely is a lot of history in this valley going back 150 plus years. And what's nice about the completion of the building that we have, and it's sort of a monument to history to preserve and also perpetuate that history, is that the timing of it. It's 150 years since 1863, when the territory was, of course, created by President Lincoln, March 4th, 1863. And so the timing of that with the territorial sesquicentennial is really a nice thing, and people are aware, I think, of that history, and ultimately the project's there, the building's there for those people to enjoy and to use, as John said. So really a lot of tremendous history, and to think back to what the territory was like in 1863. I mean, this was an area that was Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, present day, all put together as one territory, and just an incredible expansive mass of land and really no law to begin with. The legislature had a tremendous job to do, and a lot of history. A lot of our law that even still is on the books today came out of an early building just like that territorial capital we've been able to rebuild. So,
well, it's great, and it's a really interesting building, and having that sense of history, and like you mentioned, the Idaho Territory back in the day was quite expansive, to say the least. I heard one story about one of the legislators who lived in the Montana Territory. In order to get to Lewiston, he didn't want to cross the Bitterroot, so he had to go all the way down to California, catch a boat, and then come all the way back. So it wasn't easy to get around this country 100 150 plus years ago. So you spoke a little bit about, you know, that sense of history when you walk into the first territorial capital. What is the overall purpose of it, and how will it be used in the future moving forward?
What we'd like to do, and its purpose will be to educate our children, people of all ages, adults, to the history of what all the legislative actions and the type of environment that was here back in 1863. Talking about the fabulous gold rush we had here. That's what it all started about, was the gold rush. These many miners, and who come to Lewiston on their way up the river to Pierce and Orfino, and these other historic towns up the Clearwater, and even branched up into the Snake River, up that way to experience the fantastic mining exploitations of what we had here. So and not only that, but you had a lot of your wealth was done by these people coming to be merchants, people who had their stores and handled the supplies. And we're a fabulous entertainment town. Everything you can think of went on in Lewiston. We had entertainment of all types and supply. It was just a bustling town. At one time, we were the largest population center in the Pacific Northwest. We were larger than Seattle, Olympia, and Portland combined for population. Along with all the pioneers that came up here. Of course, you might remember the Civil War was raging. And we had many Chinese that came here as well. They came in far from San Francisco and Portland. They came here to provide services, and they also mined as well. So we had outlaw gangs, just all types of adventurous things. I'm going to go back to Bill here, and his great-grandfather worked in the Capitol. And let Bill talk about John Alonzo Miller.
Thank you, John. Yeah, this is a picture of John Alonzo. He was 25 years old. He was commissioned by the United States government to come to Lewiston to be interpreter for the Nez Perce tribe. He was in that position for quite a few years, clear up to the Indian Wars in '77. And we feel after that he actually helped with the tribe and getting them settled on the reservations and that thing for quite a few years after that. So kind of some fun history, great-grandfather. So I'm getting to work on that building. We know that he went into the building to file his reports and the things he had to do and work with the Nez Perce tribe to help them secure some land for their reservations. So kind of interesting story, and gives me a good tie.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. And we'll have to work on your facial hair so you can look more like your
Again, look at the mustache, and in his later years it even got bigger, so I don't know about that.
Well, it's you're never too old to start.
Okay.
So just keep that in mind. So we talked a little bit about the building itself and the history and the amazing stories that have come from that era. So where is the building located for folks in the community who may not know?
We're located right close to the county building, to the City Hall, Lewiston City Hall, at 12th and Main Streets. As you're coming into Lewiston, either from Clarkson or from the other side, from the east. As you're approaching those buildings, we're on 12th and Main Street. We sit right on the corner. We're very visible. We've got this. It's an approachable, safe building to enter. We're still working on some construction to complete the exterior. So. It's available for all those who'd like to see it. We have a ADA, handicap accessible entrance to it, so those that need that aid, it's there for them to see. And while we're talking about this, I want to get back to our legislative history just a little bit. I'd like to Alan Baker talk a little bit about one of the adventures of the Great Seal, the first Great Seal of the Territorial of Idaho, being removed from Lewiston in our few remaining minutes, along with the archives that were taken to Boise. Mr.
That's probably one of the most fascinating things that originally interested me about this project, other than just general history of the area and going back to what's the history of and the origin of this thing we call Idaho. And to me, it's just fascinating that I think it's, to my knowledge, the only instance in the entire history of the United States where a capital of a territory or a state has been moved without due process of law. I mean, really what you had happen was the population center, as John talked about, was in the north due to mining, Pierce, Orfino, Florence, all that mining district. And then the population shifted toward the south with the discovery of gold in the Boise Basin and into Idaho City and that type of area. And what's interesting is, you see that early sort of fledgling legal history of the territory. The legislature convenes December of 1863 and adjourns and basically trying to enact some law. We really didn't have any law in the territory at all. Mm-hmm. And then we're supposed to meet again the next year. Well, they met early and decided that this whole coming to Lewiston thing was for the birds, and decided, well, we ought to just move this capital to Boise. And citizens of Lewiston obviously protested that. People in what's now North Idaho protested that. And we had a new governor appointed who decided that was the thing we needed to do. And so in 1865, with the aid of troops from Fort Lapwai, came in, broke the lock off the Capitol, basically the prior version of the building we've replicated, and stole away the Territorial seal. And we have a replica here. This is actually from the Idaho Territorial Centennial in 1963. They made a run of these in bronze and silver. But it shows the original seal, and you see, I don't know if we can get close enough on it to see it has the words "the Union" on it, that sort of Civil War period there on the seal. But that's a replica of the original 1863 seal, which as of today is missing. That's one of the great mysteries of Idaho, is that seal is missing, and everybody claims that nobody knows where it is. And so there's a really colored past, a very lively past to the removal of those archives from the Territorial Capitol. There was a suit filed. Thomas Pomeroy filed suit. People of Lewiston v. Caleb Lyon, who was the governor, to try to prevent the removal of those items. There was an injunction issued. A lot of really fascinating things happened, and ultimately Governor Lyon sneaked away with the archives and the seal and dressed up as a duck hunter and made it to Boise, conveniently made it to Boise the same night that President Lincoln was assassinated. Whether that means anything, who knows? But just quite a history, and you see it even to this day, sort of North Idaho versus Southern Idaho. I always call it the Mason-Riggins line, the line in the sand. So those tensions and some of those cultural things go back quite a long way. It's pretty fascinating.
It really is fascinating. And for folks who want to come visit the building, when is it open? When is it available for the public to view? Is it special events only, or is there plans for maybe volunteers? How can we see the inside?
I think the plan right now, people can make arrangements to get in to view. We're really not open per se. We will be hopefully in July. That's our intent. We have a few projects to finish before it can be open to the public. We've got to work through codes and stuff with the city, and the city's been very, very good with us, helping us get this to that point. John and Melva Mock now will open up for individuals or tourists. Again, the hope is that our fourth grade classes here in Lewiston are taught Idaho history. So we're hoping that they can get in there, utilize that facility to do some of that classwork. There will be electronics in there so the teachers can take their laptops down, plug in, and show those films and do that educational parts of Idaho. Quite a few things can work there. Tours can come in. We're arranging bus parking, so hopefully in the near future it will be open so people can come and view it.
That's great. And how can people contact John and Melva to make arrangements?
We have a telephone number, which is you can give us a call. Is a per capita business or wanting to visit down there in the Capitol, 208-790-0999. If you give us a call and we know you're coming, we'll be sure we'll have somebody down there and open that for you. And we'd love to have people take a look at it. Again, keep in mind we're just doing some other work on the outside and exterior and interior to finish it up.
Well, great. Well, we're about out of time today, gentlemen, but I really appreciated having you all on the show today. It was great talking with you. Thank you so much for being here. So on behalf of John and Bill and Alan and myself, Greg, and everyone else here at City Beat, we hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.